Audio Jungle.
Police probe St. Elizabeth shooting incident. Police are investigating an incident where a car was shot up following a car crash in St. Elizabeth on Tuesday. Head of the St. Elizabeth Police Superintendent Coleridge Minto said a Toyota RAV4 motor vehicle was shot up about 3:30 p.m. after a crash involving a motorbike. Reports from the police are that the RAV4 and motorcycle were traveling in the same direction along the Barbary Hill Main Road when the driver of the bike reportedly collided in the rear of the RAV4. Following the crash, a dispute allegedly developed, which became physical between the driver of the vehicle and the two men on the motorcycle. During the physical confrontation, a firearm belonging to the driver of the RAV4 was allegedly forcibly taken and used by one of the men to fire several shots in the vehicle. Body of man found tied up and mouth taped in Epworth, St. Anne. The body of a man who was tied up and had his mouth taped was found on Tuesday night in St. Anne. The body was discovered beside a water tank that served the community. It was reported that there was no blood at the scene. The police were called to the location, which was processed by investigators. Reporters were informed that the man had lived overseas and returned to Jamaica some time ago and was living alone in the area. Legal system contributed significantly to non-violent elections Jamaica has experienced in recent years, stated Chief Justice. Chief Justice Bryan states that the legal system has played a significant role in the non-violent elections Jamaica has seen in recent years. The Chief Justice pointed to the extreme levels of violence during early election periods and attributed the peaceful shift to the judicial carrying out its duty fairly and efficiently. He stated that Jamaica and the entire Caribbean region continue to serve as symbols of democracy and good governance despite the challenges. He was speaking at a swearing-in ceremony for 10 members of the judiciary appointed to higher positions within the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court.
One of the things that we should be thankful for and be proud of is the build-up to this election. For those of us who are old enough to remember the days of the extreme levels of violence in the 1970s, 1980s, 1990s. And now, we hardly even think about the tensions surrounding the general elections, and the legal system has contributed very significantly to that by discharging its responsibilities in a very efficient, fair, and balanced manner. And something that we should also mention too is this, that the Caribbean region remains a beacon of excellence and the example of how good governance can operate, despite our difficulties, because one of the striking features of our democracy is that the executive has consistently accepted the decisions of our courts. You don't have the demonstrations and appeal to impeach judges and remove judges whenever the decision doesn't go the way that political actors would like, and for that we must be thankful for.
Cops ordered to return 295 pounds of ganja to Rastafarians, but 124 pounds missing. A judge ordered that the police should return a massive quantity of 295 pounds of ganja to the owners' representatives of a Rastafarian organization, Zion Yard, marking a major victory for the Rastafarians who are defending their constitutional rights to freedom of religion and the use of ganja for sacramental purposes. The ruling stemmed from the dismissal of charges against Andy Blake, who was charged by the Narcotics Police on July 3, 2025, for possession, dealing, using premises to store and cultivation of 295 pounds of ganja. Marcus Goff, a member of the Rastafarian community, who is also the attorney at law representing Andy Blake, hailed the dismissal of the charges as a major victory. Your Honor, Mrs. Dion Lawrence Pivot ordered that the ganja that was seized by the police on July 3, 2025, was to be released forthwith and returned to the owners or representatives of Zion Yard, Rastafarian organization, who identified themselves in court as the lawful owners of the seized ganja. For years, Rastafarians have complained about the constant harassment of Rastafarians who plant ganja for sacramental purposes, pointing to the amendment of the Dangerous Drug Act in 2015, which gave the group the right to use ganja as sacrament. The accused Andy Blake first went to court on Monday, August 11, and on the second court date, August 14, the judge dismissed the charges after the prosecution offered no evidence on all charges and Blake was discharged. However, there is a twist to the tale of 124 pounds of ganja cannot be found by the police. Goff explained that the narcotics police have been unable to account for 124 pounds of ganja, which is still missing or not returned out of the original confiscated halt of pounds that was seized. He is mulling legal action against the narcotics police if the cops fail to return the sacramental ganja within the 7-day period. I intend to send a letter to narcotics to request an immediate investigation into the protocols and procedures in place to properly store accused persons' ganja during pending court cases and to ensure that accused persons are informed of the location and circumstances of storage of their ganja and demand the return of the remaining 124 pounds of ganja to Zion representatives within 7 days, failing which we have instruction to file a lawsuit against the narcotics police for the return of the herb and breach of the constitutional rights of freedom of religion, Goff stated. He said that the police failed to return the ganja on the same day, August 14, 2025, despite waiting patiently and making inquiries in person with the police at Black River and Junction Police Station in St. Elizabeth, and the police at Mandeville Police Station, and the narcotics office in Mandeville, and with narcotics headquarters in Kingston. We are unable to ascertain from the police the whereabouts of the seized ganja and unable to collect the same day pursuant in the order of the parish court judge, Goff stated. Eventually, 5 days later, August 19, Blake and the other representatives of Zion attended the office of the narcotics headquarters at 230 Spanish Town Road in Kingston, but the police only retrieved 123 pounds of ganja at first. It was not until sometime later that day, after they left narcotics headquarters, they were called by narcotics police to return to narcotics in Kingston to retrieve the additional, which was seized. However, when they returned to collect the remaining ganja, the police only returned an additional 48 pounds of ganja to the Zion Rastafarian representatives. The Rastafarian community is fed up with the continued targeting and unfair prosecution of members of the community for ganja, despite the 2015 amendment to the Dangerous Drug Act intended to recognize and protect the community's rights. It is clear that the narcotics police are not fully aware of the extent of Rastafarians' ganja rights or how they are to be approached, investigated, determined, and resolve the rights of Rastafarian in relation to ganja, Goff stated. Goff asserted that in July of this year, the Rastafari and the Grassroots Ganja Association requested a meeting with the Commissioner of Police to discuss and put at the end to the police harassment of its intent. But we have not received a response despite the passage of 7 weeks, he noted. Goff also revealed that the Minister of Justice in 2023 has sent a letter to then Commissioner of Police informing him of Rastafarians' ganja rights and requesting that the police ensure accommodation for Rastafari to exercise their sacramental rights. Raga will also be requesting a meeting with the narcotics police to try to resolve this continuing problem of police harassment and abuse of power, the lawyer concluded. To subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.